on.
The achievement gap is topic A. It is on the minds of council members. It is on the minds of our constituents. When this matter of the Children's Trust came before the Joint Committee, no one from MCPS was present to discuss it or indicate MCPS's interest or participation. When the superintendent came to see me the next day, I asked him if he planned to support it. He said, "We can't afford it." Councilmember Branson, gosh, I enjoy serving with you.
It won't be long.
You have gotten right to the heart of this matter. I have just now, I'm multitasking. I try to keep up with my correspondence. I can walk and chew gum at the same time. I have just now responded to my constituents who are writing me about a program at Sligo Middle School called the Middle Years Program. And I'm explaining to my constituents that we, the county council, don't make policy decisions for the school system. We appropriate a lump sum, and the school system makes academic policy. I have to explain that to my constituents all the time. I never said that the achievement gap was only the school system's responsibility. That's not what I said. It is primarily the school system's responsibility. And making academic policy is entirely the school system's responsibility. So I, too, look forward to an in-depth discussion, and I look forward very much to receiving the plan. What's the plan? How does this fit with it? How does the Minority Scholars Program, which organized this tremendous rally that Dr. Starr, you spoke at, offering hope? You said the answer is hope. Well, I hope we have a plan besides just hope. And if the Children's Trust is part of the school system's plan, I look forward to hearing that, because that has not been presented to us yet. And if the Minority Scholars Program is part of the plan, and if the Middle Years Program is part of the plan, and if improved choice to enable kids from disadvantaged part of the county to attend schools in other part of the county is part of the plan, and if we're going to strengthen the consortiums, if that's part of the plan, I have yet to hear that. Now, I don't sit on the Education Committee, but I've been listening with great interest. Again, I commend Councilmember Branson, who asked a very direct question about how funds are allocated between high-performing and low-performing schools. And she got an answer. I've read the answer. I am paying attention. But the question of ownership is crucial. And just what we've seen on display here with the energy and interest and desire for ownership exhibited by our Director of Health and Human Services, as compared to what we've heard from the Superintendent of Schools, who basically seemed to suggest that it's everybody's responsibility. That's what I'm hearing. I'm sitting here and I'm listening, and I'm paying attention, and I intend to continue paying attention.
Dr. Starr.
So, the health and wellness of all of our children is a community's responsibility. I do believe that. And I am privileged to have partners such as the one sitting with me, who also take their responsibility to provide families and children with services that enable them to achieve what we have done so well in this county, right? Provide numerous resources, programs, nonprofits, just as Ms. Florine and Mr. Elrich were describing. And in fact, part of the Children's Trust, one of the reasons was, as we've been talking, we said, gosh, there are all these different efforts out there that have cropped up that serve children, that serve families. How do we pull it together? How do we create some systems, create some rules, policies, explore the legal issues, and try to do something that everybody's rightfully asking, what should we be doing moving forward? We currently provide an enormous amount in the Montgomery County Public Schools budget that funds things outside of the straight-up classroom efforts, which we would happily go into at different times. And there is a degree of a chicken and egg issue here, Mr. Elrich, regarding bringing in the private funders, right? Do you put the money in first to attract funders, or do the funders come to the table? And we talked about that ad nauseum. We said, you know what, let's have the new money in there first, and so that we can then go out and see what and be able to say to people, this is what the commitment is. And again, it's you can go either way.
Mr. Starr, what do you tell them you're going to do though? If you put the money in, they're going to say, "What's your plan?"
So again, there's a plan that UMA's put forward that we can come back and talk about at another time. When we did talk in your office, Mr. Leventhal, you're right. I did say we can't afford it this year. In the same way, because the county executive's recommendation is $15 million short of what we had asked for, and I'm hard-pressed when I have to buy more teachers, put in programs, or continue programs that are going to help us reduce and eliminate the achievement gap. It's hard to start something new. You did not ask me, nor did I reply, as to what we would do going forward, but it is absolutely our intent going forward. But I did say, you're right, right now, given our budget, we can't afford it right now. Now, 16 is a different issue. I think the suggestion somehow that I and the 22,000 employees in the Board of Education don't take the achievement gap personally and aren't all in our commitment is limited, right? Every single day we work on behalf of our kids. Everything we do with our budget, everything we do with our actions, every plan we've put forward, every measurement we've put forward, and every conversation we've had. Well, maybe 95% of the conversations. We do sometimes have to talk about other things. There's evidence from the 3 years I've been here that we talk about it all the time. I'm the first superintendent to put in place gap reduction targets for our system. We have continued and accelerated the long-standing commitment that I've had, and I have talked about it personally and will continue to. I take it very personally. I take responsibility for it. I take responsibility for the actions of every one of our employees to make sure that they are doing what they must do to serve our children, particularly our most vulnerable. I've made numerous public statements to that effect. I put it in writing as well. And I know that I can't do it alone. And Montgomery County knows it can't do it alone. This is why we have so many people in the nonprofit community who do an enormous amount of fundraising and work to help our kids and families, such as George B. Thomas and others, right? This is why this council, the county executive, and others continue to do everything they can to help us, because they know it's about the entire county. It's not about the budget that it shows up in. It's not about what the title is. It's about what everybody does. I take my role very seriously. I take personal responsibility for the achievement of our kids, and I've been clear about that. And to suggest otherwise is simply is done so for a reason that I can't imagine. Now, I also know that Darian Pollard happens to be much more eloquent about these issues than I am, so perhaps she's able to convince folks of her seriousness in ways that I'm not able to. But let me reiterate the seriousness with which I take personal responsibility for the achievement of our kids. And I am fortunate to do it in a county where many, many elected officials, tons of citizens, right, do an enormous amount to also take responsibility for that which may lie outside the door of our schools, but for that which is made stronger by the collaboration amongst the various entities. That's the choice before us. $100,000 is not going to make or break us. We're going to do this work anyway. We're going to figure out how to do it. I absolutely, in reflection, I think there are other ways we could have come at this, and I appreciate what you said, Mr. Rice, about, preliminary conversations that we've had, and I've had conversations with different members of the body about this in concept, and we probably could have done it differently. Right. Again, I want to remember the county. Want to remind folks the county executive put new money, saying this is important. Let's put new money. Let's put it in. Do it in a way that just makes it easy. Right. By going to the community foundation, we should have had some preliminary conversation about that. This is not about who's responsible. Ultimately, right. I'm ultimately responsible for the achievement of our children. Right. And many of you I've had conversations with have also said to me, well, what about parents' ultimate responsibility? Right? We can have that conversation, we will. Different policy solutions that folks are putting out there about programs they want or ways that they want the system to organize kids is part of why I put in the budget a study, all right, or a process to help us figure that out, because that's my job. Right? And I've shared that with you personally or privately and in public as well. We take it very seriously. The Board of Education does as well, as do the 22,000 members of our community. We will continue, and we will continue to work, 100,000 or not, we will continue to figure out how to continue to work together, how to deepen the collaboration that all you have asked for since the day I got here, and we have evidence to show that we have been going much deeper on it than we had in the past, and we will continue to do everything that we can for our children for the time that they are within our schools and within our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Starr. And so, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is, because we've had a very in-depth discussion about the Children's Trust, and there will be more to come, what I'd like to do is go ahead and get us through walking through the remainder of this Department of Recreation. I know that Mr. Albernaz, you've been sitting there waiting very patiently for a very long time, and so I wanted to give you the